Okay, we'll start with questions around the room. Please raise your hand, and we've got microphones on each side. We'll start right over here. Tim on one.
Hey, Mose.
Hey.
Indiana talked quite a bit about this experience being a bit of a springboard to what they went on to do over the next 18 months. We all know what losing here meant to the Thunder and what they learned from it last year. How much of an education do you think your team can get playing 1 or 2 games here, just about the bright lights and this format and a trophy and all that good stuff?
No, I think it's great for our guys. Speaking with some of the guys from Indiana, knowing some of the coaches there, being able to, lean into that experience that they had. But it's great for the guys, the bright lights, the stakes. I think these guys understand exactly what, is at stake, and, the intensity, the focus, the game planning that you have to go through. I think those are such great pieces for us to experience.
Next question on the front row on the left.
Coach, how much progress have you guys made from opening night to now?
I think there's been a ton. I think us being able to keep creating the chemistry, following our principles, setting our standard, and then just following the process throughout each and every single game. Our guys knowing what we're asking of them, them communicating to one another about what it looks like on the floor, but there's that chemistry and camaraderie just keeps continuing to build. And, being here in Vegas also adds to that.
What is the energy like in practice today, and just what was the message to the team after practice?
No, the energy is great. These guys are feeling and seeing, what it's like, all the media attention, the different focus, that it will try to distract you. But our guys have really locked into what it is for the game plan, obviously playing New York again. But our guys are really locked into what it is. The energy is great. They feel good about it. Again, I'll keep talking about the chemistry and camaraderie that keeps being built each and every single day, and just Vegas being able to provide that.
On your right, second row.
Coach, you have such a young squad. I think the oldest guy on the team is 29 years old,
Yeah.
Tejas Jones, right? So back to 2021, when you start coaching this team, do you feel like you need to adjust yourself to just get through them and make them to understand what you want to do them to do?
When we first got here as a coaching staff, we talked about the growth of each guy. Finding the development, and we're always going to be about development, but there's different phases that you go through that development. And guys now, with the stakes and the expectation, understanding that standards continue to rise, and that's what we've done with this group. We're going to continue to play hard. They're going to continue to fight for one another, but with more stakes, I have to change because now helping them understand exactly what it means to win at a high level. You're always growing, you're always getting better, but I think that's when you focus in more on the details of the process of what you're trying to accomplish.
Right in the front.
You guys have had 2 playoff series under your belt now. How much confidence does that give you going into a game with some stakes, and as you try to level up and try to compete for something bigger throughout the season?
It helps out a lot. Our guys are really understanding game planning, the tendencies of guys, knowing how to focus in on those things, and understanding the value of each possession within the game.
Tim.
Jamal, you guys have a West Coast trip, or had a West Coast trip coming up. I imagine travel's probably contingent on how you do tomorrow, but it is, like Doc talked about it, like they played here and got thumped after they won it because it's just too hard to squeeze this in. Do you know what you guys are going to do? Are you staying out here? Are you going home? Either way, like how will this work?
Yeah, us right now, we've talked about it as a staff, and our travel party, knowing what we think about doing. You stay for a moment, but if you don't get it, then you have to get back home because that's a lot of time being away from family, and then we have to bump back in. We'll go back out to Denver after that. But what we've really tried to focus in on is just let's take care of Saturday and then see what happens from there.
Is it a downside? Look, they're playing for a trophy, playing for money. All that stuff's great, and I think everybody seems to like it. There is the reality that the schedule that was in place awaits you. Is there a hope like this could be tweaked or something? And do you see an issue with it, I guess?
I really think the league does a good job of trying to put it all into place, and the schedule is what it's going to be in so many ways. We basically started our season off with like 3 and 4 nights 3 times, and so you're not going to get away from that. That's part of what the league is, and we embrace it, and we've always talked about the right recovery, the right attitude towards it, because it's not changing. And I think our ability to adjust to what that is what our guys are learning and continuing to do.
Josh, over here on the right.
Coach, how much was Jalen limited by the groin issue, or whatever it was that he tweaked on Sunday in the quarterfinal, and how much will he be impacted with his movement tomorrow?
Yeah, right now he's in a good space. I think what he did was it did allow him just to slow down and play more detailed and locked in defense, as well as calming down and slowing down on the offensive end. But again, I don't know how limited he was. It wasn't 100%. But at the end of the day, that's why Jalen is who he is, because he finds a way to push through, and he's able to do that, because of his toughness and his competitive edge.
In your career coaching people, how many players have the pain tolerance that he has?
There's over years there hasn't been many that are able to do the things that he's capable of do. You see him go down with big hits, and then he's able to bounce back. So if he's out, there's something really going on. But he's able to push through a lot of the pain.
Tim, last question, back left.
Jamal, I know Tim was just talking about the schedule a little bit, but next year the semifinal game would be in Orlando. You'd have another home game. I know it's cool to be here. You guys haven't had a chance to experience this yet, but do you like that tweak that if you have the number 1 seed like you guys did, you get an extra home game, and you come to Vegas for the championship game, but for these games that count in the schedule, they're they both in that sense be in Orlando.
Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to take home home court advantage? Absolutely.
Do you think that change makes sense for just having the environment you guys had for that quarterfinal, to have that again for the semifinal, and then to have just the 1 game here instead of 2?
Yeah, I think it's similar to playoffs. You earn the right to get the higher seed, and you get to take care of home. I think that's very important. And as the league continues to make adjustments, as they see and they get the feedback from you all as well as the fans, and understanding what works and what doesn't work, the league will continue to do a great job of making those adjustments. But I don't think I'll be opposed to getting home court. If you happen to be the number 1 seed next year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you all.
All right, please raise your hand. We've got the microphones around the room. We'll take the first question in the back on 2. Thank you.
Hi. What defines this team?
Defense. I think defense and togetherness, those are our 2 superpowers.
Next question, upper on the left. Tomer, just wait for the mic.
Desmond, you walked by me when I was talking to Anthony, telling me to ask what a weasel is. Can you explain the background behind the whole weasel story? He didn't want to talk about it.
He didn't want to talk about it?
He didn't want to. Tyus Jones didn't want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. I guess then we're not going to talk about it.
Well, you're on the podium. You got to talk about it.
If they ain't answer it, I ain't answer it. Just know they weasels for sure.
What does that mean? Is that like a junkyard dog type? What is that?
You have to ask him.
I did.
Ask him again.
Joe here in the front right.
Well, since you punted on that one, now you have to answer this question. What does the money that's on the table mean to you and to your teammates, and is there something outside of the prize money that you like about the Cup?
Yeah, I think that this is my first year where we've really been in the hunt for the Cup. I think it's something great to compete for in the middle of the season. Chance to have meaningful games that mean something. All the games mean something, but like you said, there's a chance to win money, a chance to get to Vegas. I think that it was a great idea by the NBA, and super excited to be here and be a part of it. Hopefully bring it home.
Josh, over here on the right.
Desmond, I'm not sure we've had the chance to ask you about that incident where you threw the ball and hit OG. What was going on that play, and was it intended to kind of ramp up your teammates?
Nah, it wasn't intended to ramp up the team at all. It was I thought it was a good basketball play in the moment, and I go and watch the slow-mo, and it still wasn't a bad one. I just think I threw it a little too hard. But yeah, I'm chasing down the ball, and I throw it off of him. My homeboy, he was joking with me, said the Cincinnati Reds going to be giving me a call. So if y'all watching this, invite me to training camp or spring training this summer. Come check it out. But yeah, it was no no foul play intended.
When was the last time you've played, or just how physical is your new team? Is the Magic in terms of the physicality it brings on defense and the physicality it brings attacking the basket?
1 through 15. You know, that's our goal. You know, to be the most physical team on both ends of the floor every single night. And when we win, we usually do that.
Over here, second row.
This is the fourth time you guys will have faced off yet pretty early in the season. This one has elimination stakes at it. Is there any sense that there's sort of a rivalry brewing with these two teams?
I think that it's two good basketball teams. You know, two teams that are trying to do something big in the Eastern Conference, and I think that any time you have a team that's standing in the way of what you're trying to do, there should be a little something extra on the line.
Right up front.
You guys have, over the last month, you guys have kind of come together and found your way. How much has this month, you know, these cup games helped build the confidence to be the team that you guys thought you could be at the beginning of the season?
It's been huge. You know, I think that we're building a ton of momentum, trending in the right direction. You know, unfortunately, Franz goes down, but you know, we still find a way to win some games. So it's been great.
Over in the back left. Nope, standing up.
I know you said defense is the team's calling card. You individually didn't get off to a great offensive, scoring start with this team, but what's kind of allowed you to find your rhythm and just be acclimated with this team over time?
I think that just the confidence from my teammates, confidence from the coaching staff, just to come out and be myself, be aggressive. Kept telling me when I'm aggressive, good things usually happen for us. So really just tried to get in that mindset and that mind frame, heading into games, and it's paid off.
How have you kind of approached the increased playmaking responsibilities that you've kind of been had to do this year?
I mean, I think it's kind of similar. You know, I think that's why so many things that you go through in this league really shape you for different moments. You know, I had times in Memphis when Ja was out for extended stretches. Sometimes Jaren go down. So, I mean, I've been, in multiple different roles, played multiple different ways. So, I just kind of feel like my game is in a place where I'm comfortable doing a lot of different things on that side of the ball.
Any other questions? We'll take a question up here on the front on 2.
For those that are a little less familiar with your team's defense, how would you describe your team's defense when it's on its A game?
Simple and physical. We're not really out there trying to have no elaborate scheme or anything. As can you guard the man in front of you? And once the shot goes up, can you get the rebound?
Joe, last question here in the front.
Wanted to follow up. What would you do with the winnings, with the money?
It's a good question. Probably break off, a couple people that have helped me, early in the season, and then probably go buy a new boat. Honestly.
Thank you, Desmond.
Appreciate it.
Okay, once again, please raise your hand. We've got microphones on each side of the room. We'll start with the first question here in the front row.
Paolo, how great of an opportunity is this for your team to show the progress you've made from opening night to now on a national stage?
It's a tremendous opportunity, to play on this stage. You can just tell by all the stuff going on. It's a big stage, and as a team, we want to take advantage of the opportunity and just go out there and do our best to get the win. It's a fun environment. Everybody's excited to be here, so definitely looking forward to it.
Jason.
What was the focus of practice today? What do you guys think you got out of it facing the Knicks again tomorrow?
Yeah, no, that's a team that we've played 3 times already. They're familiar with us. We're familiar with them. So just some minor cleanup stuff. What we want to do heading into the game. Some details on that. But then just getting up and down. Getting a sweat. Getting shots up in the arena because it's a little different and stuff like that. But just overall, a lot of excitement and guys ready to go.
Joe, here in this corner.
Hey, Paolo. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
All four of you guys, all four of the teams, as of right now, are playing for roughly like 480 grand. There's still left to win. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to your teammates? And then what is something that's, I guess, cooler that you like about the Cup that isn't money related?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, I think the money, I mean, obviously, everyone on the team, you know, we got a lot of young guys, got a lot of guys that could really use the money, including myself and everybody. So when you're playing for something extra like that, you know, you want to go after it. And then I think as far as besides the money, I think it's just the atmosphere that's created when it's a Cup game, whether it's at home or on the road. I know, you know, just with the courts and everything, it kind of creates a different environment for you, you know, and wouldn't say it's a playoff environment, but it's definitely not, you know, just a normal regular season game environment. Stuff's a little elevated. Obviously, teams play a little harder. Point differential matters, so you got to play the whole 48 and stuff like that. So it just creates a lot more excitement with the league, something early in the season that we can play for and get up for. And as far as our team, you know, I think we've been close the last 2 years as to advancing to Vegas. And so, you know, for us to finally get here and, you know, continue our success in the Cup, it was a big confidence boost.
Right up front.
Paolo, you guys have had playoff experience over the last two seasons with those playoff series. How does being here and being in this moment, how much confidence have you gained from having that playoff experience to kind of level up and put yourself in a position where you are in the standings as well as where you are here in the Cup?
Yeah, I think, I mean, yeah, playoff experience is valuable. I think the deeper in the playoffs you go, the higher the stakes are and the more the pressure builds, the more media that's around and stuff like that. So, you know, this is obviously a lot of that. And so I think it does prepare you for what's to come if you are to advance in the playoffs and you know, make it far. So I think it's just a good thing for our team to be a part of and, you know, get a chance to experience, come out here and play.
Second row on your right.
You said, you know, you're familiar with them, they're familiar with you. Just what sticks out from those first three matchups with them?
Yeah, I think what sticks out is that every matchup, you know, different guys on different teams have been in and out. And so it's kind of, every game's been a different look in terms of like who's out there for each team. And so, you know, now we're here. Obviously, we don't have Franz. And so it's another opportunity for us to kind of match up with them and you know, compete. You know, they're a good team. You know, we've won twice, they've won once. And, you know, they're at the top of the East. And so looking forward to kind of, you know, seeing them all year. And, yeah, you just got to give them their respect as a team.
Any other questions? We'll take last one in the back, just on the two. Hold on.
Hang on.
Microphone's coming. Thank you.
Paolo, you guys are built to be a contender in the East. Is winning here a way to validate that?
You say it's winning here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I wouldn't say this is a guaranteed ticket to win in the East. Obviously, if you win this, you do get you get money, you get confidence as a team. You know, you're on a big stage, but it's also, you know, December. You know, those games are played in May and June, and so it does give you confidence as far as, you know, knowing that, you know, you can come into something like this and come out on top. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a long season, and you have to be playing your best basketball in May and June. So I think just never losing sight of that as a team is important.
Thank you.